This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Welcome, listeners. I'm your host, Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this 15-book series chapter by chapter. As always, there are no spoilers past the chapter we are covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host, Brett, who's a longtime fan of the series, and he's acting as my tour guide on this journey. Before we get into our episode today, we just want to welcome Stubble McShave to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. We're really excited to have your support and want to thank you for your generosity. This episode, we are going to be talking about Chapter 5 of The Great Hunt, The Shadow in Shienar.
Yeah, and this chapter we get 4 perspectives.
Yeah,
whoa.
Gosh, so crazy. Interesting it's called The Shadow in Shienar when half the chapter doesn't take place in Shienar.
That is true.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But crazy. Flip-flop.
No time for that now.
Yeah.
Well, also we get the sunburst symbol, which is about the children of the light.
That's right.
And that's one of the 4 perspectives.
So if you look at the whole chapter title as a whole, it covers all of it.
They're trying to encapsulate everything.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
And speaking of white cloaks, my fun fact today is a little bit about white cloaks.
Nice segue.
Thank you. I planned that. That was good. And I thought it was also important because we just had an interview with Child Bayar.
Yeah, we did do that.
Which was really fun.
Yeah, and that should be released before this episode is released.
Awesome. So people should hopefully be able to listen to that too.
They should have already listened to it.
Oh, man.
If they are devout listeners, go listen to the bonus episode with our interview.
And if you haven't, you are a dark friend.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's definitely what Child Bayar would say.
Yeah, he did say that. He
said
made some accusations. So with my fun fact, it's a little bit about that glossary definition because we do have a little bit in this chapter, but there's a segment of the definition I wanted to point out to you today. Mm-hmm. So the Children of the Light were founded during the War of the 100 Years, and we know that's right after Arthur Hawkwing's empire collapsed. Mm-hmm. And it was founded by the man named Lothair Mantelar to proselytize against the increasing number of Darkfriends. And I looked up the word proselytize because I didn't know what that meant, and it actually means to try to convert or to actually convert someone from one religion to another.
Okay.
And it also says that the Children of the Light evolved during that war into a completely military organization. And I just thought that was interesting because they started off as an organization that was bent on converting people probably from like the Dark One over back to the Light, and now they evolved into completely a military organization. That we've seen doesn't really do that very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in this chapter once we get to that.
Yeah, and I find it interesting because you told me that we did this as a glossary definition in the first book.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that.
Yeah,
so
and that's
cool.
okay. No, I mean, there's a lot of names in book 1 you have to familiarize yourself with.
Yes, that's true.
But I wanted to talk about Lothair Mantelar and where that name actually comes from. We know RJ likes to not do one-to-one comparisons for sure, but he likes to hide little tidbits of information. So if you flip that name around, Mantelar Lothair, it's actually very close to Martin Luther. And that's who this character is based on.
Okay.
So Martin Luther, not like Martin Luther King Jr.
That's what I was going to say. That's who I know.
Which is also funny because he got his name because his dad, Martin Luther, was actually born as Michael King, not as Martin Luther King. And he went on a missionary trip to the Holy Land and learned all about Martin Luther, who founded Protestantism, and then changed his name and changed his son's name to Martin Luther King, and then Martin Luther King Jr. respectively. So Martin Luther was the one who actually, during like the 1500s, was a professor and a priest in Germany, and he had like severe disagreements with the Roman Catholic Church on some of their viewpoints, and he posted something called the 95 Thesis, which was his viewpoint on how things should be, and then started Protestantism and, in turn, Lutheranism. And that's where Luther becomes Lutheran.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the White Cloaks are based on that guy?
So the founder is based on Martin Luther because he started, in a sense, new religion in a way. And Lothair Mantelar began this in an attempt to convert Darkfriends to the Light. Right. So he started a religion as well. So there's a little bit of a comparison, but that's about as deep as we're going to get into it for now.
Okay.
Because it's definitely not a one-to-one comparison.
All right. Okay, so now getting into Chapter 5, the Shadow in Shienar, with the sunburst picture, obviously referring to the little tidbit where we hear from the Children of the Light a little bit.
Yeah.
And what they're up to, sort of. And we are leaving off last chapter with Moiraine being summoned by the Amerlin Seat and finding out that she's like secret BFFs with the Amerlin Seat.
Oh yeah, best friends.
And they are planning something real sneaky together that other people probably won't like at all.
Yeah, and we left them in like the middle of a conversation, so we are picking up back in the middle of that conversation.
Yeah, start out where we left off in Moraine's perspective. We get clarification in this book that being stilled is the female equivalent for being gentled.
Yes. And although it is an equivalent to men being gentled, the reasons for it are very different.
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
Where it's like men are gentled because they're dangerous and are going to go crazy, and women are stilled as a punishment for doing something really, really bad.
Yeah, which is what they're doing right now.
Yes.
And even though they know these risks, they know what must be done.
Yeah.
And they have known it for 20 years. Turns out. That's a long, long-ass plan.
It's about as old as some of our main characters are.
Uh-huh, sounds that way. So, Swan, the Amerlin Seat, is seeming a bit nervous and talks about how only twice in history has an Amerlin Seat ever been stripped of her title. Both of those Amerlins were of the red Aja, and both were replaced by blue.
Yeah.
So she would, like, really doubly make history if that would happen to her.
Yeah, being the third person stilled in history.
And being of the blue.
Yeah.
Would be a big deal, too.
So I have to assume that RJ, being an American, was well-versed in, like, American politics, too. And it's just funny that he picks the two colors of the Ajas that are, like, clearly opposed to each other as reds and blues, because Republicans are reds and blues are Democrats.
Right.
So it's just kind of funny that there's a play on that, and I don't know if it's intentional, but I also don't think a lot of this book is
intentional.
Coincidental, so...
Yeah, and we also find out that the ones who lost their title were kept in the tower as, like, scullery maids as a form of punishment, so they can't really rally a bunch of followers.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny, like, you can't rally around a woman who has to, like, scrub floors and pots all day.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, like, pretty severe, though.
Tell that to the handmaids in The Handmaid's Tale. They rally a bunch of followers, and they're, like, the lowest on the totem pole.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that series, so...
I know.
All right.
But...
So it is possible to rally around a woman who scrubs pots?
Absolutely it is, yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah, and really easy to get sneaky secret messages through the, like, serving
hide them in the pots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super involved. I just finished the 3rd season of Handmaid's Tale, so
all right.
That's on my mind right now. But,
no, for sure.
Anyways, so Swan is pissed at Moiraine right now, who apparently did not stick to the plan. The plan was to find the boy and bring him to the tower to keep him safe and guide him.
Yeah.
But Moiraine has only sent 2 messages since her leaving the tower.
And that's pretty crazy, but I mean, she has had
She's had a lot going on.
Very full schedule.
Like, when is she supposed to send a message?
I mean, she could have potentially sent one when they left, like when they're in Baerlon.
Yeah,
She could have, like, I don't know, sent a pigeon or something, however they do that.
Yeah, but even their escape from Baerlon was unscheduled.
It was, yeah.
Everything they've done has been really unscheduled, and they've been super on the move, and...
So do you think it was intentional that...
Oh, probably.
That she didn't send letters? Or...
Yeah,
okay.
I think that everything Moiraine does is intentional.
Yeah.
There's no way...
I feel like if Moiraine wanted to get a letter sent, she would.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So... I'm just being devil's advocate where it's like, well, they were very busy.
Yeah. My schedule is... Yeah.
They were just, like, being chased all over the place.
I didn't text you back for 3 days because I was really busy.
Yeah.
It's
I didn't have service.
Yeah.
For a lot of it.
The text didn't go through.
Yeah, well, you know, between, like, Shatter Logoth and...
Ugh.
Camelin Road, like, there's not really good service.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we also get that their big, giant plan that could get them stilled was to find Rand and bring him back to Tar Valon.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the huge issue.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's pretty severe knowing who Rand is.
But keep him safe and guide him.
Yeah.
So they clearly knew what he was going to be or become.
Yeah. And again, we know that Moiraine walking into Two Rivers didn't know who he was, like which one he was.
Yes.
But they had a really good idea that the new dragon, like the
yeah.
Dragon Reborn, is there.
Yes. So Siuan acknowledges the chest that's sitting on her table, the flattened cube,
yes,
if you will.
Of course.
And she takes out the Horn of Valir.
Very dramatically, too.
Yeah, and she says that Algamar...
Nope.
No. She said...
That was close. You almost had it.
Aegilmar gave it to her basically as soon as she arrived because he couldn't handle having it in his strong room because he wants to use it.
Yeah.
And he knows that only the one who doesn't seek glory can truly use it.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like another addition to the prophecy, or like a subverse. Like, it kind of sounds like something that's not necessarily
written, but
but it's like said. It's kind of like the one who wants it for his own glory shouldn't be the one to handle it. And Aegilmar felt that and was smart enough to realize, hey, this is tempting.
Right, and I think that goes back a little bit to my theory about when Moiraine knew Rand was a Dragon Reborn, like for sure.
Because he doesn't want the glory.
Because he doesn't want to be the Dragon Reborn. He doesn't want to use the power, so therefore it's him.
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense. Like, a lot of false dragons might claim it because they want
the power.
They want the power. Yeah. They want to be ruler of the world or whatever it means.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So this horn is apparently to be found right in time for the last battle. And basically, if they found it now, it means the last battle's coming.
Yeah, like really soon.
Yeah, so the pattern is demanding a dragon because the pattern is weaving toward Tarmin Gaidon.
Yes, that's how you pronounce it too.
Okay.
And the glossary definition for that, we can do it if you want to.
Yeah, I want to do it. Because it's time for glossary definitions with Brett.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Literally, the last battle.
That's what Tarmin Gaidon means?
Yeah, so it's the old tongue for the last battle.
Okay. So we also learn that Loghain has already been gentled. Remember when I thought, like, oh, maybe he hasn't yet? And
I do remember that,
and it'll be a whole plot point, and it'll be exciting? No.
Turns out, no, he is gentled.
Nah, he'd be gentled.
So it's kind of sad, because he's also clearly being kept in the tower, and it sounds like anyone who is still or gentled just gets to hang out as, maybe not the best use of words here, but it's an example. Yeah. Like, you're left there in front of everyone saying, this is what you were, now this is what you are.
Right. And I don't know, I was kind of confused. I really thought there was going to be more, and maybe there is still more to the Loghain story.
Yeah.
But I just find if he's gentled, like, what kind of story is that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know.
Yeah. And also, probably suicidal.
Oh, yeah.
Because
that's what happens eventually.
That's what happens, yeah.
Yeah. So Moiraine reminds Siuan that the pattern doesn't call for just any dragon, but the one true dragon. And then Moiraine shows Siuan the pieces of the seal that are all broken, like the symbol of the one power. And right away, Siuan recognizes it as the indestructible Heartstone.
Yeah, before we get into the whole seals, I just want to point out one quick thing, because we get a little bit more background information on what's going on in the world. So we do know that the man in Saldea can also channel, and his name is Mazrim Taim. And there's a little bit of distinction on how you can pronounce that, because I've heard some people say Mazrim Taim, but Mazrim Taim is how we're going to go with it. But it's important to note that they also, although there are all these prophecies about the dragon, they talk about the fact that even prophecy can fail if the person who is prophesized about, if they die or if they're gentled. So these people are not indestructible just because prophecy is written about them.
Right, and this is where Siuan is being a little bit wishy-washy and being like, what if Loghain was supposed to be the dragon and we just gentled him?
Yeah,
like,
shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Moraine's like, hey, stop it.
Yeah.
Be better. Do better.
It's this guy that I have. This is the dude. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, back to Siuan and the Heartstone broken seal.
Yeah, the watcher of the seals.
Right.
Not doing a good job watching the seals.
No, she is not.
Because we find out that there's 7 of them.
I thought we already knew that.
We did know that, but we get like confirmation. But we also learn here that they don't know, and no Amyrlin, since like the Trolloc Wars, have known where any of the seals are.
Okay, so that's bad.
Bad
if you're
watchers.
the watcher of the seal, you should probably know where they are.
Hey, do you know where they are?
No.
Nope.
I hope they don't get broken.
Yeah.
If I don't know where they are, then no one does.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to hide things from people, right?
Yeah.
If I don't know where it is, maybe
I can't,
you don't.
and I also can't tell you where it is.
Yeah, that's
so,
true too.
Extra safe.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
It's bad. That's a bad system. So we get here that Siuan saw Rand at the welcoming.
Yeah, so this is cool.
So it turns out that she has a special Aes Sedai talent of her own, and it is being able to see Ta'veren. And he stood out to her right away, blazed like the sun.
Yeah, so I guess like he illuminates in light.
Right, which is pretty funny because he was like, she won't even see me. Like,
and he's just like walking with a giant glow. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, I bet she wouldn't even notice me in this crowd.
If you remember when he was walking through, he saw her eyes pass over him and keep going.
Yeah.
And like he got a shiver.
Yeah.
But at that moment, she would have totally seen him.
Oh, totally.
This giant dude blazing like the sun.
Yeah, no kidding. And so, turns out that young man has been the one they have been seeking for 20 years.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of funny that she also noticed that her talent is like not a very useful one.
No.
Because Ta'veren are like super rare.
Yeah, really, really rare. And it's pretty, like even Moiraine has spotted that he, like Loyal knew. He's like, oh, you've been through this many things? He doesn't have to see the kid like, light up.
It's like crappy superpowers.
Yeah, that's not
I can grow my fingernails really
long. Yeah,
long.
I was just about to say that. That's the one I was thinking of. That's a bad one.
Yeah.
But turns out they need a new plan now. Because they have to keep Rand safe from the other Aes Sedais. And then also present him to the world as the Dragon Reborn.
Yeah.
That's their plan.
Big plan.
It's a big plan.
But also, they have no idea, like you said, how the other Aes Sedai are going to react. So it's also, like, the original plan...
Even the ones who are in Faldar right now.
Yeah, but, like, their original plan was to bring him to Tar Valon, and he'd be around a bunch of Aes Sedai, so...
No, they said keep him safe.
So, like...
Hide him.
Hide him in Tar Valon?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. That's what they were going to do, I think.
Seems like not the best plan.
No, but it's also interesting that they've been plotting this for 20 years, because it sounds... about the same as when Baalzamon and the Dark One started also searching.
That's true.
With that whole Padan Fain story we got last book.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And we also know that 20 years ago was when they started forming that plan of how to break the wheel.
Right. And it kind of reminds me of like the Race to the Moon, except it was like the race to the boy in some remote village somewhere.
Yeah.
Who's going to change the world.
Yeah, there you go.
Turns out.
But let's switch topics now.
Yeah, because Moiraine has to purposely let Rand think that she has no interest in him any longer. That's what she's done. That's her new plan. That's what she's doing. And it's just because he is so stubborn that he must be handled gently.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, Moraine's new plan is to get Perrin and Mat to carry the Horn of Valir back to Ilion, and maybe Rand will want to go with them.
Yeah, and it sounds like Rand might want to go with them too, because he wants to like stick with the boys.
Maybe. He's pretty set on leaving and doing his own thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, and he's been back and forth. Like, he didn't want to leave because he wanted to stick with the boys, but now he wants to go without everyone.
Maybe when he hears they're not going to Tar Valon,
he might change his mind.
He actually might change his mind. It's not the worst plan.
Yeah, like it actually does get a little bit better as we go into her detailed plan.
Yeah.
Because Moiraine has clearly been doing some thinking without Swan now. So.
Yes. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, Mat has a cursed dagger from Shatter Logoth, and that might be a little bit of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, turns out they have enough Aes Sedai there now to heal him here, and they don't have to go all the way to Tar Valon to get him healed and, like, cured, separated from this dagger.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a good thing, too. And it is really funny to note that now knowing how Moiraine was planning to cure Mat is with a group of Aes Sedai,
yes,
like working together to heal him, but she definitely didn't want to do that with the Reds in Caemlyn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that would have been a huge no-no.
No.
And even here, she's like, are there a couple you can trust?
Yeah.
Like, I only need an extra 2 plus you and me and my Angreal.
Right,
so.
And now I actually just had a thought. It was last chapter we found out that Elida was of the Red Aja, right?
No, we found that out in book 1. It was...
No.
It was hinted to because when they were in Camelin, Moiraine stated that
Well,
everybody here is red.
oh, right. We
Yeah.
never talked about it, though. Because remember how I predicted she was green?
I think we must have talked about it, maybe not on...
I don't think so. Because I'm just now realizing that I was wrong.
About her being green?
About her being green.
I
'Cause I had
in my mind,
predicted
I
that.
know we talked about her being red.
Ah, I missed it.
I
then.
100% believe that we did.
It's,
Maybe it didn't stick in your brain, but we talked about it at one point.
Well, we're like 50 plus episodes in, so
Yeah,
it's
like
likely
half a year
that
ago.
some things will get a little murky. In any case, I'm realizing it now.
Well, hey, that's good too. If you don't remember, then it's new to you.
Turns out I'm wrong.
Yeah, so Elida is red.
Is red, for
Yeah.
sure. Okay. So, in talking about this dagger from Shatter Logoth, and it's a pretty big deal because if Mordeth had even touched Matt, the world would be doomed.
Yeah, and he didn't touch Matt.
And he didn't touch Matt, and
But-
Moiraine says, yeah, don't worry, that didn't happen, so everything will be fine.
Except for the fact that Mordeth totally
Oh.
touched Padan Fain.
Oh yeah, and he's literally
Inside Padan Fain's
underneath
body.
where they are right now in the dungeon.
And notice how she does not even talk about that.
No,
But we don't know if Moiraine actually knows about the Mordeth thing.
I don't think she does.
Yeah, because we talked about that because Padan Fain, like, his jaw locked up when she was questioning about certain things.
Yes.
And although he opened up to Egwene and Rand last chapter, we don't know if he opened up to Moiraine.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess no, he didn't, and she doesn't actually know that.
Okay, so she assumes that Mordeth is not out.
Yes, because the way Swan says the world would be doomed,
Yeah,
like, I feel like that would be an important thing to share with the Amerlin seat.
possibly. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Moiraine says that she will actually not travel with the boys, but she will cleanse them so that no track can be put on them.
Yeah,
And the only threat there is locked in the dungeon, and the Amerlin seat gives her a questioning look, but Moiraine just keeps talking.
keep plugging away.
Yeah.
So the clothes thing is funny, though, because
Yeah.
now we know that she burned all their clothes not strictly out of a, like, manipulative sense.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit still.
But just so that they're not recognized as easily going on this new journey.
So that no magical tracers could be put on their old clothes
Yes.
at some point without her knowing.
Okay.
So she gave them all new clothes that aren't potentially magically traced.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's why she's saying she's going to cleanse them before they go to make sure everything's all good.
Yeah. So I guess they must be let off the leash for a time, and Swan is like pissed because she doesn't want to lose Rand basically just after they found him, and Moiraine is just relying on the pattern, and when Rand needs her in Ilion, she will be there for him.
So this is I actually think this is a really cool plan.
You do? I think that it's bad.
So hypothetically, this is an awesome plan because we know that all the other dragons, like the other false dragons, are all people who are like trying to rally armies behind them
Yes.
and struggling basically and being attacked from all sides because they're like false dragons. But what she wants to do is have Rand show up in Ilion with the Horn of Valir, where Ilioners are like in love with the Horn of Valir.
Yes.
So if he's the one who claims to be the dragon and presents the horn, he's going to start being the dragon with the full backing of the nation of Ilion behind him already.
Yeah.
So he's not going to have to like, you know, struggle for scraps and like dragon followers
Yeah.
to like come to his aid. He's going to start with a nation. So it's actually like a pretty good plan to
Yeah.
start with an army instead of having to like build a ragtag army of
Yeah.
followers.
My only problem with this plan is the fact that I don't know if they're going to be able to get from Faldara to Ilion
So you don't think they're going to...
without consequence.
Okay, so do
Yeah.
you think that this plan is going to go through without a hitch?
No.
No? Okay.
Of course not.
I don't know. Maybe. A quick boat ride down.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Just hop on a boat.
Hop in a boat, go down river,
Why
you're
not?
good to go.
Jump in a jet.
Yeah.
Just an airplane. Take a flight.
Flying carpet,
Yeah,
you know,
why
whatever.
not? No, that's the problem with this plan. Is like you're right. When he gets to Ilion with the horn, and even if he won't proclaim himself the dragon, Moiraine says she has ways of proclaiming him,
gonna do it for him.
whether he wants it or not, and all well and good. but they have to freaking get there, and she's not gonna go with them. So good freaking luck.
Yeah.
Like, these boys aren't smart enough yet. I know the point of a book series like this is you're supposed to start out with sort of young, naive characters, and everyone is supposed to have a character arc, and, like, as people change and whatever, but they're still too dumb. They're less green than they used to be. Like, they have a little bit more now experience and understand a little bit more of the world, but
still not much.
Enough. Not near enough.
Okay.
Like, we get a lot of insight here into how long they've actually been gone. And it's not that long.
Yeah, a couple months.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yep.
Right? So...
Moiraine really believes in the wheel, though, and the pattern, and everything just, like, sorting itself out.
Yeah, I know.
So...
That's her go-to, but I don't know. Siuan thinks that they should sit and discuss their plans, but Moiraine knows that they have been together alone for too long. And she thinks, besides, I cannot risk letting you know what I am holding back.
So that's interesting that Moiraine
isn't...
she's not communicating everything with Siuan, who seems to be her, like, best friend.
Yeah, I thought that at this point she would have talked about what happened at the Eye of the World, because Siuan asks for confirmation that Rand can channel.
Yeah.
And Moiraine just says, he can.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
The
but
end.
again, this is the whole thing that we know from everything we've heard so far that Aes Sedai can't lie.
Yes.
So her saying, yes, he can channel, that's like a very direct statement that Siuan can believe.
Yeah.
But the funny part is that Moiraine in her mind is not telling Siuan everything.
No. She's saying, I don't even want you to know that I'm holding anything back. I can't risk you knowing that I'm not telling you everything.
But look at this wordplay, because then she says, in the morning, I'll tell you everything you need to know. And that's like the little subtle hint that we need to be really careful about what Aes Sedai say.
I wrote in my notes, trickster.
Trickster, that's like spinning your words.
Yeah.
Right? To make sure that the person hears what they want to hear.
Yes.
And that's what we heard, like, advice from, like, Tam way back at the beginning of the Eye of the World when Rand was setting out. Like, the truth you think you hear isn't always the truth that, like, they're actually talking about. So.
Right. And so it's interesting to be in Maureen's head for this.
Yeah.
Because then it really, really shows.
Drills it into us.
Yeah. So, turns out that there is much to be done before the morning and before she speaks to the Amberlane Seat again. So, off she goes. And then, boom, scene change.
Scene change.
Which was pretty exciting for me.
Yeah.
Reading. I didn't really know what to expect. So...
Yeah, and like I said, in the middle of chapters, you'll get, like, a blank line, and then it'll change perspective.
Yeah, and you told me that this book is dramatically different from The Eye of the World.
Oh, yeah. Like, book one, we have, like, 85% was Rand.
Yeah, so I think you told me, like, 76% or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I can't remember. But it's, like, majority, and we're always in Rand's head.
Always.
And here we get 4 perspectives in one chapter.
I know.
Like,
it was a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
Like, this first one, I went, okay, that makes sense. We wrapped up that, and now we're into a new one. And then when this one ended, I went, what?
And 3 of them
that
are
one
unique,
ended, and I went, what? So, okay. So, scene change. We are in now Geofram Bornhald's perspective.
Very cool.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, it turns out he is in Terrebonne, at the edge of Almuth Plain, and he is leading 2,000 white cloaks who are mounted and waiting for something and someone.
Yeah. And the funny thing I just need to point out right now is the last time we heard about White Cloaks, Terrebonne, and Almuth Plain in one paragraph.
You don't need to remind me.
Yeah, Darkfriends Social with Bors.
Yeah, in the prologue.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, Bornhald remembers an interview with the Lord Captain Commander of the Children of the Light, Pedron Niall.
Yeah.
So this guy is even more of a big deal than Bornhald.
So he's Lord Captain Commander, so he's the big daddy of the Children of the Light.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Bornhald has spoken with this commander in Amador, but didn't learn very much, and this is where we get a flashback to that interview.
Yeah, and just to remind you, just the geography, Amador is like the home base for the Children of the Light.
Dome of Truth or something, right?
Amador is the nation.
Yeah.
And that's where the Children of the Light hunker down.
And what's the Dome or something?
The Dome of Truth is a place in Amador
for
the
Amador.
children.
I'm right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's where they were bringing back Perrin and Egwene to.
That's where they were going to, yeah. So Bornhald was called back from Caemlyn with urgency, and he asks for some clarification because shit seems to be going down there, and we didn't talk about this last chapter, but the White Cloaks had basically followed the Elaine train to Tarvalin and are camped out outside the walls of Tarvalin.
Yeah. So the last time we actually saw Geofram Bornhald was when he was with Perrin and Egwene, and then we know they went to Caemlyn, and then a division of them at least broke off and went to Tarvalin to follow the Elaine train, like you said.
Elaine train.
But we don't know.
You like that?
I wrote it down too, actually.
You wrote Elaine train?
I wrote down Daughter Heir and Logain. I wrote the Logain train.
Oh, Logain train? No.
Yeah. Because Logain was going with them.
Yeah,
so.
but Elaine train, that's so funny.
And the Logain train,
we can call it the Elaine and Logain train.
Yeah.
No, that's not as good.
Anyways.
That's really funny, though. I thought you would laugh harder at my Elaine train joke. Turns out you have the same joke.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Oh my God. We need
High
to
five?
spend less time together.
Yay. So yeah, but it doesn't seem like both, the entire troop of White Cloaks followed
Right.
Elaine to Tarvalin. Some of them went.
Yeah, but in this flashback, we get Lord Bornhald saying that he left some guy, Eamon Valda, in charge, and he is very set on following the Daughter Heir to Tarvalin.
And Dane went with them.
Yeah. Well, he had showed up in Caemlyn just after Bornhald was leaving.
Yeah.
And Bornhald wouldn't be surprised if this guy kidnapped Elaine and attacked Tarvalin.
Which, probably would end in, ultimate destruction of them. But
yes. Yeah.
He's just saying they're foolhardy enough to actually try that.
Show too much zeal.
Too much zeal, yes.
Yeah. So, Bornhald isn't told any information and just given orders to put together a legion of his best men and ride for Terrebonne. And Bornhald is super confused and wants to know why he is risking war with Terrebonne, but he doesn't get any answers. He doesn't even get told who he is meeting there.
Yeah. So, zero information. And I can kind of understand where Geofram's coming from. He talks about being able to take 50 to 100 White Cloaks into basically anywhere and not have anyone question him, which is clearly what they were doing even in Andor, having those little detachments. But bringing a full, 2,000 soldiers across a nation border, that would be an act of war because that's how you invade a country.
Yes.
Right? So he's saying, I can't get away with that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that Niall tells him to silence any tongue that sees him. So basically, kill anyone that you need to make sure that nobody knows you're going.
Yeah, and we get some insight into Geofram as a person.
He's a shitty person, but he's just not as shitty as some people.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's probably the White Cloak I like the most.
Yeah.
At this point that we've met anyway, because we have Bayer and we have him and we have Dane. Those are literally the three that we have.
Well, we kind of talked about that. We have some respect for him because he seems knowledgeable. Yeah. Especially when he was calling out Bayer on exaggerating the numbers of soldiers and wolves that they were fighting.
But the fact that he doesn't want to just kill innocents.
He doesn't want to, but it's obvious that he will if needed.
Well, he's in an organization where
you have to.
If he doesn't, then it's his own life. Yeah. Right? That's the point that he's at.
That still makes you a terrible person.
Yeah, but he worked hard not to, and he didn't.
He did, yeah. He didn't, but it was all for pretty much nothing anyways. So.
I know, but I think I kind of like him, so...
Okay, that's fine. I'm just we can't fully justify his actions. He's still a dick.
Fine. Okay, so here we get some stuff about a king.
Yeah,
and it was a little bit confusing for me. I need your help.
Okay, Amador has a king.
Okay.
The Children of the Light hunker down in Amador, but they're clearly a separate faction. So Pedro Niall is saying, the king can do whatever he wants to. I command the children.
Gotcha.
So they're two separate factions, and Amador basically is like a housing ground for the children. But the king has no say over them.
Okay. So, and at this point, after all of this talk, I think for sure that this has to be about the stuff from the prologue.
Okay, that was my question, is what are you getting out of this?
Mostly based on setting.
Okay.
Because the only thing I actually remember are words like Terrebonne, Almouth Plain,
That's all we pretty much got.
And that's about
yeah.
it. Like, there was a couple others, and some other things were mentioned here, too, and I sort of just thought, okay, there's, like, unrest that's sort of happening in this area.
Yes.
And the one dark friend, who was a white cloak at that social...
Yes.
got instructions to sort of make some chaos happen.
Yes.
So it sounds like that's kind of what's happening right now.
It does.
And because this is a flashback, I mean, it's not that far of a flashback, but we don't know exactly when in time this is taking place.
We don't.
Because,
and we don't know exactly when the prologue was.
No, I assumed, my prediction was the prologue was happening before the boys got to Camelin.
Yeah.
And then the boys went off to Faldara and did their thing in the Blight. And then a couple days later, the, White Cloaks were there. And then the Elaine train went to Tarvalin.
Yeah, and that's when Geofram Bornhald
and that's
was
sort
called.
Of all when all of this stuff is sort of happening. And so it maybe makes sense now that this is sort of getting all riled up in my mind, if I'm right about when that prologue actually took place.
Yeah, it definitely seems to be related. Like, I don't think it's necessarily coincidence, again, that we got that prologue full of information about Terrebonne and Almouth Plain,
yes.
and here we're seeing White Cloaks doing something.
Yes.
Did you at any point have a suspicion that Bors in the prologue...
The man who calls himself
yeah.
Bors?
Did you have any suspicion that Bors was either Pedron Nile or Geofram Bornhald? Because it's very easy to equivocate the first White Cloak Darkfriend you see with, like, the first White Cloak we see in the book, too.
The only reason I did not is because of that shepherd's crook.
The questioner's crook.
The questioner's cloak that he had.
Okay.
Now, ask me again in a couple pages.
Let's do that. Let's come back here. Pause. Big old pause.
Timeout. Big old tea with your hands.
And then we're going to come back to that later.
Okay.
Okay, let's just keep going for now.
All right. So, flash forward to present, and Bornhald is sitting in his saddle, and we get some information about how he is definitely not the worst White Cloak that there is.
Yeah, not the worst.
Yeah. He is happy that he hasn't had to kill any innocents, and he does care a little.
And he doesn't like the questioners, who clearly are like the worst of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of them decide guilt before they even start torturing people.
Definitely.
And
so now there are some guys who are riding up to him, and he can tell right away that they have the red shepherd's crook behind their sunbursts on their cloaks, and he knows they are questioners.
Yes.
So instead of a couple pages, try like a paragraph later.
Right now. Yeah,
real
time.
Like, he clearly doesn't care for them, and this is more of making me think about the prologue.
Okay.
Just because of that shepherd's crook thing.
So we get introduced to Saren.
Yes.
Now, did you...
Enor.
Yeah.
We should call him Enor because it sounds way nerdier.
Yeah, than Saren?
Yeah.
Okay. So Enor, did you see how he was described?
As a jerk.
Nope.
I don't know. Actually, I don't remember. Big nose or something.
He was a tall, hook-nosed man.
Yeah, hook nose. Yeah.
Yeah. The tall is the emphasis because Bors was the guy who was hiding his height by slouching.
Okay.
And he was like super arrogant about it. So
yeah.
I was just seeing if you'd like read anything into that because RJ likes to hide things in words like that. So
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could be a red herring too.
It could be.
In my mind, like when I first read through this, every person I'd meet, I'd be like, "Oh, that must be Bors. This must be Bors."
Yeah.
Are you that? Are you him?
I was thinking maybe this guy.
Yeah.
Or one of them at least. One of the questioners here.
Yeah. Like, granted, it could be totally unrelated too.
It could be, but...
Like, he could be, like, RJ could be throwing us off completely.
And, he's been known to do that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this guy, Enor, is second to...
Jacob Carradine.
Okay, and he's the one who commands the Hand of the Light.
Yeah, so just like the White Cloaks aren't called White Cloaks, questioners aren't actually questioners.
Gotcha. So we
Children
learn...
of Light, the Hand of the Light.
Yeah, they actually don't like to be called questioners.
Yeah.
And so we also learned that the village they are at here has been pacified.
Yeah, nice word for murdered.
Yeah, the entire village has been killed just for the sake of secrecy.
Yeah.
And Bornhald wonders what they did with the bodies of an entire village.
Well, and he's like, did they stack them up in the middle of town, or are they dumb enough to throw them in the river to float downstream and alert other villages?
Right.
So, like, that's so severe. When you think about what the White Cloaks are supposed to be, is a faction for rooting out evil and Darkfriends.
Yeah.
And they're going to murder an entire village full of people.
I know. It actually made me think a little bit about Emmonsfield and all of the people there that we met that now we're so attached to. If that village just got, like
ransacked,
just for the sake so that White Cloaks could be there for a couple days.
Makes you not like White Cloaks very much.
That's right. In case I was on the fence about how I felt about White Cloaks, it's not good now.
Yeah.
They really solidified that.
Well, and Bornhald is a little bit upset with Saren.
Yes. So, I don't really get what's going on in this discussion that they have. Like, it's a little bit cryptic.
Sure.
And I think it's cryptic on purpose, because I don't think we're supposed to really get what's happening here yet.
Okay. A little bit, yeah.
From my first time reader view,
yeah,
like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, I was actually kind of thinking about this too, because it's kind of unique that you get to read a chapter 3 times. Because you read it on your initial read, then you do a read through when you do chapter notes, and then you get to listen to our conversation when you edit. So you're basically doing a triple reread on your first read.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
So I think that's one of the large reasons why,
it's taken us so many episodes for you to say that and realize.
Well, I never really thought about that, but it kind of came to me when we were talking and you said, oh, I realized when I was editing today that this, and this.
Yeah.
And I was like, that makes sense. You get to redo and re-look at each chapter 3 times. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So on your third reread of this chapter, it might make more sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
But so they're gonna take over some villages and some towns to root out Darkfriends and Aes Sedai or something.
No.
At least that's their.
So that's not exactly
what they're going for.
No. So Bornhald is pissed off because Saren's telling him, go into the village, move your men across the bridge, go into this village we just murdered. And Bornhald's pissed off. He's like, you're telling me I brought 2,000 men to like root out some Darkfriends in a village? Like, tell me what's actually going on, because bringing 2,000 troops in secret to kill some villagers is way, way below the pay grade of what Bornhald... He's a commander.
Yeah.
So he's pissed off at Saren because he's like, why am I actually here? And he also doesn't like questioners, and Saren is a questioner and being snippy with him, and Geofram's getting all snippy back with him. So there's just a disagreement here what's going on.
Okay, because there was some stuff here about how some of the towns and villages all in this area don't even have so much as a mayor. So we're going to go in and basically take over and root out Darkfriends and maybe possibly Aes Sedai. That's what I got from it. That's like their mission, quote, mission here. But it seems like that's a cover for what they're actually trying to do. Yeah,
so, and again, Geofram's annoyed because he's not getting the actual mission because he's not believing that that's why they're here. And then we get the whole thing about they're strangers. There's a strangers force on Tom and Head. And if you want fighting, there's going to be fighting with these strangers who have, arrived here.
Right. And we got that from the prologue, too. Is that someone landed at this place?
Yes. Yeah. At Tom and Head, which is like the big peninsula.
Yeah.
And then some of the Terrabonners are saying that these strangers are like monsters and Darkfriends and whatever. But I mean, to White Cloaks, everyone's a Darkfriend.
Yes.
So, and then some people say that there's also Aes Sedai fighting, with these people. But again, this all might be just White Cloak superstitions because they all believe everyone who isn't them is a Darkfriend.
Yeah, so. And we also get something about the armies of Arthur Hawkwing returning.
Yeah, so do you remember Arthur Hawkwing's legacy?
Yeah.
So he conquered the entire world, sent people east and west over the ocean.
Yep. So
some people are saying that his armies from over the ocean have returned.
Oh, okay.
Does that make more sense?
Way more sense. Okay. Yeah.
Saren
I thought
corrects
it was just
him, though.
like more people are uprising because there's so much going on, turmoil going on in the world.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, they're back to believing that, one person should take over the whole world.
Yeah, no, so not that.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I like this.
Keep in mind, Saren corrects him, and he says, they're strangers.
Yeah.
Like, we're not saying this is Hawkwing's armies
right.
come back, 1,000 years later.
Yeah. But at this point, Bornhald is told that there is more to be discussed in the village, and then Bornhald calls for Bayar, his second in command, and tells him to get all the troops into the village, and he thinks about how they are just stones on a board and someone is moving all the pieces, but who? And he's a pretty smart guy, but this isn't making any sense to him.
Yeah. Well, remember Borza's initial reaction too to all of his instructions. He thought to himself, none of this makes sense.
Right.
If only I could listen in and hear a few more, segments of what other people are being told, maybe I could put it together.
Yeah.
But it seems like there's a whole big, chessboard moving here, and no one really gets the full picture.
Okay. All right. So, boom. Scene change.
Scene change.
All right. So, we're left on that note, and then we're, in Liandrin's
Yeah, of all people, I bet you
perspective.
would never guess we would get Liandrin.
Never, because we literally just met her.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting, and I said, this ought to be good.
Yeah, socially awkward Liandrin.
Oh my god. So, turns out she is in the women's apartment, and she thinks that she can feel the Dark One stirring. And then she feels like there is something to be seen and caught in the shadows if she looks hard enough. And I think the Watchers, maybe?
Yeah, that was what Rand felt, too, when we got that whole Mordeth thing.
Yeah, because we just heard about Mordeth down beneath the women's apartments, and this is where she is, and she feels like she's being watched. So, that's just the natural conclusion I draw.
Yeah.
So, we find out that she is heading into Lady Amalisa's room. And that's Agelmar's sister.
Yes, and she's also being kind of a sneaky sneak about this.
Sneaky sneak. And this is the one in the last chapter that she was being oddly friendly to.
Or
and
trying to be.
And Moiraine thought, what is this girl up to?
Yes.
And I just said, we're about to find out.
Yeah, this is what she was up to.
That's right. So she heads in to find Amalisa and her ladies sitting around and listening to some story about men and women and stuff.
It's a book club.
And Liandrin right away hates this so much.
Yeah.
She hates it so much. The women are in the room laughing and just having the best time. And Amalisa is very surprised by Liandrin's sudden appearance.
Well, she also doesn't knock. She just busts in.
She just walks in.
She's a high-ranking woman here.
Yep.
If not the highest rank besides.
Liandrin is, nope, I'm better. I'm an Aes Sedai. I'm better than everyone. I have more power than everyone.
Yeah, she is very, very, arrogant.
Very.
Yeah.
I think you have to be in the Red Aja. I think to be a Red, you have to be quite arrogant.
Okay.
That's what my gut is on that.
Yeah.
What? I hate when you smirk like that. Why?
No, I was just going to do a comparison.
To what?
The Slytherins.
Oh.
Yeah, to be a Slytherin, you have to be a dick.
You have to be a
evil.
racist.
And to be a Red.
Right? I was wondering if a shot was going to come up tonight.
Yeah.
All right, let me go see what I can dig out of the cupboard. Okay, so you're smiling because of the comparison of the Red Ajas to the Slytherins in Harry Potter, and we'll do a shot for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was nothing nefarious. Every time you're like, oh, you're looking at me weird.
Yeah.
It's not always because I'm like, I don't even know.
I'm like, am I about to meet a Red Aja who's like really nice and kind? Like, I doubt it.
Yeah, well, maybe. You'll never know.
Okay, here, you can have this one.
Thank you.
So this is from the collection at my parents' house.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
So mine is a cute little teeny tiny shot glass mug from the Mariner of the Seas when I went on a cruise.
Ooh.
The Royal Caribbean cruise.
Well, that's
nice. When I
nice.
was a teenager.
And I have a shot glass of Newfoundland, and it's got a picture of a moose.
A big old moose.
Big old moose.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So, where were we? Reds are bad. Slytherins are racists.
Yeah, and back to Liandrin.
Alcohol is good.
Liandrin being a dick to Amalisa, who calls her out pretty quick on being an asshole.
Oh, yeah. All the ladies are laughing, having the best time, and Amalisa is surprised. So she scrambles to her feet right away to greet her, and she is friendly and warm, and Liandrin is the opposite of that. And she says, I will speak to Lady Amalisa alone. All of you will leave. now.
Get out.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes. So, after some shocked silence, they all leave and, like, scramble out of there. And Liandrin immediately asks Amelisa if she walks in the light, and then realizes this wasn't the best strategy, as any, like, true Shienarian person would take a lot of offense to this.
Yeah, because, like, her entire life is dedicated to fighting the shadow.
Yes.
And you're asking if I walk in the light, like,
Yeah.
go fuck yourself.
Yeah. So now Liandrin has to shift her point of attack, and I like being in her mindset, like in her point of view.
Yeah.
Because she's like, oh, that was bad, but I need to get her to do what I want, so here I have to go a different way.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
She's being very
play-by-play.
calculated.
Yeah. So she's not stupid. She's arrogant and she's a terrible person, but she's smart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, what's this wretched girl up to? So, side note, she also throws the book that they were reading in the fireplace.
And that is a total power move.
Like, super casual, doesn't even, like, flinch, doesn't mention it.
If you want to walk into a room and be noticed, grab a book, throw it in a fire.
Especially the one that they were all just enjoying.
Yeah. Like, wow.
Yeah. And so, Amelisa is still quite confused, and Liandrin just carries on. She starts talking about the shadow and the cursed and tainty blight and how it seeps into the men that enter the blight. She also explains that she is of the red Aja and she hunts all men corrupted, not only the ones who touch the one power.
Yeah, so it's a pretty interesting comparison that she's doing here, because she's saying, are you surprised that men who walk into the blight and fight the shadow aren't themselves becoming corrupted?
Yes.
Right? So
She also has a very interesting way of talking.
she is, and it sounds like the accent of where she's from.
Okay.
Also, she may have trained with Yoda. We're not sure.
Yeah, it is very Yoda-esque.
It's possible.
Yeah, it is very like that. But
Yoda's favorite move was throwing books in fires.
I did see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was that really
There was
good
that scene
one scene.
in the first movie.
Sure.
We can say that because no one's actually seen it. Seen it twice? I don't know.
Yeah, no.
You know, I was fine with.
I like that one.
Yeah.
I like it. That's fine. Now's not the time, though. But at this, Amelisa sort of catches on to what's happening, and clearly Liandrin is talking about Aegilmar.
Yeah.
And
Well, she's hoping she's not talking about him, but
yeah, but it's clear that's sort of where she's going. So Amelisa drops to her knees, and Liandrin uses this moment to lash out with the one power and cause some pain, which makes her smile, because she crazy.
oh yeah, she's a little bit insane here.
She crazy.
Yeah. But let's talk about this lashing out with the one power. So she's clearly like broken down Amelisa's like internal defenses, made her very like vulnerable by accusing her brother, which is like so shocking, and in that moment of weakness, she lashes out and does something to Amelisa.
Yes.
We don't really know what, but
No.
we do know it's a trick from childhood.
Yeah, apparently hurting people is the one power trick from her childhood.
And it was forbidden as soon as the
Mistress of Novices discovered it.
Yeah.
And I actually had a side note that said this is the first mention of a teacher.
Yes, so there are probably teachers.
The Mistress of Novices. It sounds kind of dirty.
A little bit. I'm
I'm
okay with it. I can get on board with that.
Yeah. But apparently, when the teacher found out that this is what she does and forbade it, that just made her think that she needs to hide it better from those who are jealous of her.
Yeah.
She just can't even help it that so many people are jealous.
But it's in a really important phrasing she puts here. It's one more thing she needs to conceal from people who are jealous of her.
Yeah.
So she probably has a couple more tricks.
Uh-huh.
But I kind of think of it like Moraine's trick of listening in,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
That was a childhood trick too.
that was. So, Liandrin says that she doesn't want to see her and Aegilmar be thrown in front of the people as Darkfriends, and she says that she will help. But Amelisa has to agree to help too. So it's kind of like blackmail.
A little bit.
But like nothing's even actually there. She's made up something to have her be afraid of being thrown in front of the people as Darkfriends.
Well, we kind of get that description of what this ability is, and Liandrin says it's not a perfect ability, she can't make people do exactly what she wants.
Even
but
though
she's
tried lots of times.
Yeah, but it makes people more like malleable.
Open to her arguments.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
So that seems to be what this little trick is.
Yeah, so she gets Annalisa to agree to answer her questions and do as she says. And that's like the blackmail there. And Liandrin is nuts and thinks herself better than a queen.
Yeah, and it's like over and over again we get in Leandrin's head here that she clearly believes she's above everybody.
Yeah.
Like she wants people to grovel at her feet, basically.
Right. And then we get what Liandrin really wants to know.
Yes.
We get down to why is she actually here? And she wants to know about Moiraine coming here with a dark friend.
Yeah.
And she's meaning Fain, I
That's
guess?
what it would seem.
That's what Annalisa says, oh, no, that guy didn't come with Moiraine. He came after, and he's in the dungeons. But then Liandrin says, well, I know that she speaks alone with him often.
Mm-hmm.
So Liandrin, in her short amount of time here, like half a day, has already discovered that much.
Yeah.
That Moiraine talks to Fain in the dungeons.
So, I mean, and again, coming from a different perspective here, like, we're clearly on, like, Moraine's side. Like, we like Moiraine. But Liandrin coming in, she knows that Moiraine is, like, a troublemaker at best at this point. It's noted many times that Moiraine is, like, not in good standing with the Hall, and she's not reliable.
Sure.
And Liandrin sees Moiraine as conversing with a dark friend a bunch. Like, there's also some legitimacy there.
Yes. So she also wants to know where the 3 young men are that traveled with Moiraine. And she says that she's been to their rooms and they aren't there.
So she's already checked that out.
But Annalisa doesn't know. Like, why the hell would she be keeping track of Rand and Mat and Perrin? So Liandrin commands that they must be found. They are even more dangerous than Darkfriends.
Interesting.
And at this point, I think maybe she's one of those Darkfriend Aes Sedais from the prologue. Okay. Because
that's a pretty heavy accusation here.
I know. They're basically 2 schools of thought. I don't know if this is just like a scare tactic and she just sort of needs information and whatever.
Yeah.
Or, does she actually know about the Black Aja because she is one? Like, she starts telling Annalisa all about how the Black Aja is real and exists.
And it's here.
And normally, you shouldn't talk about that at all.
Yes.
And so she starts talking about that. The fact that she's so hungry for power, she thinks she's better than everyone. She thinks everyone should bow down to her.
True. Okay.
That reminds me of being in the head of Bors, who thought that he should be the most powerful, he deserves power, and only people who really want power actually are true Darkfriends.
Gotcha.
Because they're into the whole believing what Beelzebub is saying about, I'll reward you with tons of power if you do what I say.
Okay. So I do understand where you're coming from that.
Plus, the whole thing about here are 3 men that need to be found, and they are super dangerous. Find them under all
She definitely is using Annalisa to get the servants to search for the 3 boys because she totally wants to kidnap the 3 boys and bring them back to Tar Valon.
That's what she says.
That's what she says.
She says Tar Valon. She has no real reason to lie to Annalisa now.
Yeah, and we also, from what we know, I can't lie.
We also know that
they can twist their words.
There are hiding places in Tar Valon.
True, because Moiraine and Siuan were going to bring Rand there too.
Just the wording, though.
Yeah, that's true.
She wants these 3 boys, and they're dangerous. And the fact that she's just so power hungry.
It's kind of, but again, it's kind of funny because this is kind of like at the beginning of Eye of the World when Tom Merrilin was like the red herring for Padan Fain. And you were like, oh, this Tom Merrilin, he's up to no good. Yep. And you never suspected, at least not at the beginning, Fain was the issue. So
never once.
Yeah. Well, and again, coming back to Liandrin's, we'll call it her tactic here to throw Amelisa off. We know that Shienarans take huge offense to the accusation of Darkfriends in their ranks.
Yeah.
We got that whole, like, there were Darkfriends trying to open up a gate, and the townspeople ripped them apart before the guards could even get there. So, like,
Yes.
Shienarans are not cool with Darkfriends. So, with Liandrin, like, throwing all these accusations out just like wildfire.
Threatening.
Yeah,
Crazy.
like, threatening.
Yeah.
And saying Black Aja and all these crazy things. Like, it's really...
Scary.
And it's breaking down Amelisa very well.
It has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know red herrings exist.
Okay.
I know this chapter is called The Shadow in Shienar.
That's true.
And maybe Liandrin is the Shadow in Shienar.
Okay. But we also have one more viewpoint left in this chapter.
We do, I know. And I get that in this writing, it's supposed to make me think a certain way.
Yeah. But I also make it think like...
This is the way I think.
It's also the whole personality thing. Like, Liandrin's not a very likable character here.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to pin her into...
Okay, so let me tell you my next point. Because she goes to leave, and Amelisa is still on her knees.
Yeah.
And Liandrin says, "Rise," which is definitely a call to the prologue, where Beelzemon told everyone to rise.
Yeah. Because he was like, get
Yep.
up. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, so just...
Another one.
So you're saying that Liandrin is Beelzemon, is what you're saying?
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what
gotcha.
I mean.
Okay, you're right. You did it.
No, but it's possible she was a Darkfriend.
Okay, so are you pinning her as a Darkfriend right now, or are you saying it's a possibility and you're going to keep your eye on her?
I'm definitely keeping my eye on her.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just thinking with this whole rise thing, she is thinking so disdainfully about how weak Amelisa is, but she still has the power to lead.
Yeah.
And that's what I just think, like, oh, she wants all this power. And that is just a trademark of somebody who is a Darkfriend.
That's fair. That's like a big thing you probably need to be a Darkfriend, is you have to have that I'm better than everyone.
Power. Yeah, that I'm better than everyone. The arrogance, like you said it at the beginning.
You're willing to like cut people out. And all that, so.
And doing these sort of things in secret. Either way, she's a huge bitch.
Oh yeah,
she's the worst. But
there's no getting around that.
No.
So
when Liandrin leaves the room, she feels a prickle on her skin and whirls around, but sees no one, even though she feels that there were eyes on her. And she shrugs it off. It is full night already, and there is much to be done before dawn. And I think, hey, that's what Moiraine said.
Yeah, but the last sentence is, her orders had been explicit.
I missed it.
That was like a huge line, too.
That is huge.
Because when you were going down I thought you would have this train of thought about her being Black Aja. Her orders, because her saying her orders had been explicit, but the question is, whose orders?
And Borz's orders were not explicit.
Very not explicit.
They were very vague.
And he almost didn't remember them.
Yes.
Like, they were all kind of just like, they were already drifting away in his memory.
Yeah.
And that's why we had the conversation about, like, sleeper cells.
Zoolander
sleeper cell style. Yeah. But her, so it sounds like her orders might be coming from a different sort. Like we don't actually know.
Like maybe other Reds.
It could be, because
maybe it's just all a conspiracy against Moiraine, because all the Reds and Greens all hate Moiraine right now.
And Swan.
Well,
not necessarily, but Swan was saying she's like doesn't know where they all stand. So yeah.
Yeah. So there's basically two schools of thought.
Yeah.
She's either a terrible Darkfriend or she's a terrible Red Aja.
Yeah.
And that's where I stand on that.
Okay, I like it.
Boom. Scene change.
Scene change. Really good one.
So
it's only a paragraph or two, but it's great.
Padan Fain is in his cell, being creepy and smiling into the darkness. He is waiting for something, but then someone shows up, and Fain says, "You, not who I expected. Surprises for everyone. Well, come on. The night's getting old, and I want some sleep tonight." And he looks up and grins beyond the dungeon's ceiling and whispers, "It isn't over yet. The battle's never over."
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's break it down.
Whoa.
So, number one.
Someone's there.
Fain was expecting someone to show up, but he didn't necessarily know who.
Right.
Or he was surprised just now by who it is.
Okay. Yeah.
So what's your prediction? Who do you think this could be?
Okay, so my initial thoughts are Moiraine or Liandrin, because we left them both in a position where they were saying, lots to do tonight.
Okay. Now, Fain might be expecting...
chances are I don't think it's either of them.
Oh, it's like a third option?
Yeah.
So he's probably, or he could be expecting Moiraine.
Yeah.
Because she visits him all the time.
Sure.
Who knows about Liandrin?
Yeah. And we get that this person went into his cell.
Yeah.
So, like, is he being let out? Is he just being talked to?
Yeah,
like
they're
I don't
definitely...
know. Is he being set free?
We're getting, like, an approach to the cell.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely didn't get that this was a release. I don't know.
Yeah, we're getting cut off right at the tip of what's happening. Yeah, I think that
I'm supposed to think it's Moiraine or Liandrin or something, but I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think it's somebody unexpected.
Oh yeah, well that's that's a wild prediction there.
Thank you.
So it would be like Siuan. That would be unexpected.
It would have to be somebody that either Fain or Mordeth knows. Because he goes, you... Like
yeah, like in recognition.
Yeah.
So who does he know?
Rand.
He knows the boys.
Yeah.
He knows everyone from Emond's Field, so Nynaeve, Egwene, Lan.
I think it might be Moiraine.
Yeah?
I don't want it to be.
Okay,
but that's my gut now.
All right. I'm cool with that.
Because he's like, especially if he's actually being, like, let out.
Yeah.
Then he might be surprised that it's her.
Maybe she's, like, bringing Fain to... Swan now or something like that, so who knows?
I doubt that. She kept that very secret from her. That doesn't make any sense.
Hey, I'm just spitballing ideas.
Yeah, your ideas are bad.
Okay. Well, it's hard. It's hard to come up with predictions.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
Okay. Read and find out, we'll call it.
Yeah, basically. We'll have to see. It's too cryptic.
It is right now.
For me.
But I'll tell you something. It's going to get a lot clearer.
Cool. And you know what I really like about this chapter? It was really... kind of confusing, and the stories that we got were all like short story-esque. It was like a chapter of short stories.
It was, yeah.
Of like little scene snippets. And I'm trying to remember back to chapter 5 in the Eye of the World. That was when events really amped up. That was Winter Night.
Yeah.
Or something like that, right? So that was really exciting. That was when all of a sudden things were happening. It was sort of like a boring lead up, and then, oh my god, things are happening. And so I sort of feel like this is a really exciting start to this book.
Chapter 5 pickup, and Chapter 6 we're going to get like an attack on Tam's house. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? I'm excited, but I'm going to keep on going. And you said I get to read 2 chapters next?
Yeah, we're going to do Chapter 6 and Chapter 7.
Cool.
It's long, but we can make it happen.
Yeah.
They go together well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you. I'm inclined to believe you.
Okay.
About something like that, anyway.
Yeah.
I can trust you. I can't always trust you.
You know, if there's another 4 perspectives per chapter, then we have 8 perspectives, and it's like, really good.
Well, you told me I can expect a lot of perspectives this book.
Lots of perspectives. We're going to switch it up here. We're not getting 85-90% one character. So.
And I'm fine with that. Rand was getting boring.
We know too much about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show me some other people.
Cool. All right.
All right, so I think that we can say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, part of the pattern.
Thank you for listening to this episode. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett with Ward Weisensell, Joe Lott, Passion Socks, and Multude. Music by Audionautics.com. If you'd like bonus content, like bonus episodes, outtakes, Q&As, more fun Wheel of Time talk, early access, cool stickers and keychains, and also to support us making great content, visit us at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and Twitter at The Wheel Weaves Podcast. We love interacting with our listeners. Plus, don't forget to rate, subscribe, and tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. We'd really love for you to come over and join our Discord channel for some spoiler or spoiler-free discussions. You can find the links at our Twitter page as well as on our Patreon page. Thanks again for tuning in because this really is part of the pattern now.